Donna. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2191. And tonight's topic is 2,191 days later. It's a celebration. This is the last day of year 6 of doing consecutive. Wow. I know. I'm so like consecutive daily lives. As you can see with me, my very dear friend Casey Eberhardt is with us. He is the one that started this whole thing. It's all his fault.
You know what? I'll take that fault, actually.
So did you think when you issued me this challenge back in July of 2019 that we would be sitting here 6 years later doing this?
Yeah. Here's why. Here's why. Like I say that jokingly. So Helen, first off, I'm just so moved emotionally by the fact that you have the commitment over the last 6 years to, throughout the entire 6 years, things have changed. They've been topsy-turvy. We've had some losses, we've had some gains, we've had some pivots we've had to make. We had a pandemic, for crying out loud. Through all of that, your commitment to yourself to honor what you set out to do is extraordinary. And I think it's just not like a lot of people to have the ability to make a commitment. And, I think anybody that's been around this journey for the last 6 years has been through a whole heap load of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses have come and gone. People have come and gone. We've had a close pet come and transition on. And through all of that, what you've been able to do is celebrate each and every day by sharing a little piece of what goes on in your life with the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
And that evolution and that process and that commitment is what is creating and leaving an impact and legacy. And that's just friggin' awesome.
I'm glad you mentioned the word legacy. I like that word because every day we are living our legacy. What we do today will leave our impression and our footprints on other people's lives, whether we know it or not. And that is one of the biggest things that I can. Somebody scanned the QR code. Okay, I'm going to divert right here. If you scan this QR code right up here, you will be sent a gift to celebrate 2,191 days. But the gift is only if you scan it while we are live on the air. You have to be present and live. Feel free to leave comments. If you're following us on YouTube or on Facebook, please leave comments and we'll see them coming up here as well. But yeah, scan that code. So legacy. I have got to mention Zephy. She's been with this show is 2,191 days. Zephy was part of the show for 2,080 days. From the day that I got her till she passed on Sunday morning was 2,080 days. And it's like 5 days since she passed. So you got 106 days before when we started this. And you guys were there when I introduced her to everybody. I'm actually going to go back and find that episode because I want to go back and see what I actually did on that one. Because I just want to see what I did on that one but Zephy was by my side that whole time. Sometimes she would be sitting in the chair with her head on the armrest looking at me. Sometimes she'd be curled up on a bed on the floor or laying on the thing behind. And sometimes I would hear the squeak of the curtain as she would move in and out of the room. And she did that on Tuesday. She came and visited us on Tuesday while I was on the podcast. So that was pretty cool. My curtains squeak, and the only time they would squeak was when she'd walk through them. So it's been a long road, but we're moving forward. So in the past year, we have gone from being Before the Dirt Nap podcast, making a transition into Porchlight Letters, because that is where the direction was going. We were starting to move away from the Before the Dirt Nap stuff. It was tired, wasn't it, Casey? It was tired.
I don't know if tired is the word. It just felt right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so often, I say sometimes, and I think I've said this to you privately, is sometimes it's okay to get off a dead horse.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think Before the Dirt Nap is relevant in so much as it had impact when it did.
Mhm.
And Porch Light Letters is amazing. I mean, it's so awesome. I mean, I'm gonna probably like go out and get in trouble here, but here's the thing. I got sent a gift with the Porch Light Letters. And I've got 2 amazing sugar cookies here with the logo on it, which I just think is amazing. And I got an amazing card that was sent to me by Helen. And I love my mug. Really, it says, "Thank you for helping us celebrate 2191 consecutive days of live podcasts." And I think this is what's so important is that it's live. And here's the thing. You know what the best part about all this is, guys? So here's the deal. So Helen and I are talking before this thing starts, right? She says, "Oh, do you have your goodies?" And I've actually been like holding a resentment with Helen because she made it very, very clear that I was not to touch anything until we got live. And so I probably shared the cookies probably earlier than I was supposed to.
No, you're fine.
But here's the thing. It just means I can now eat them. So I assure you, both of these by the end of the evening are going to be right on my hips. They are going to be gone. And so
I just wanted you to have them to show them. That was all. And so you can go eat them whenever you like now. You are now free from that restriction. I probably could have let you have one of them beforehand, but I thought it'd be cool to show the 2 together since they come in packs of 2.
Here's the thing, Helen. What's really important to just talk about, like if we talk about this podcast and doing a live for this many days, you guys, and if you don't know the origin of this, like this was issued to Helen as a challenge 7 years ago tomorrow. And it was basically like, great, you need to learn how to do video. You're not very good at it. You don't want to do it. Great. Go give me a Facebook Live every day for 30 days.
No, you said a year. You said a year. You tell everybody else 30 days. I got a year.
You did.
But it was a very quick yes. It was like you said, I'm going to challenge you to do a Facebook Live every day for a year. And I went, okay, like no hesitation.
And Helen, look, I think if we really went back and looked at some of those were terrible and some of them were amazing.
And some of them still are terrible and some of them are still amazing.
Listen, but this is what I think everybody recognizes is that sometimes it's more about the commitment than anything else. And I can remember you being in Sparkles, which is, the RV that I remember you guys saying you wanted to travel around the country in an RV. And when Brad transitioned, we were like, great, let's go get an RV. And we're traveling around the world in an RV, right? And I can remember you being in surprise Arizona, where it was 177,000 degrees Celsius and Sparkle's air conditioner wasn't working and you still did lives.
Yep.
Right. It didn't matter if it was raining and we were out of electricity. It didn't matter if we were in a business slump. It didn't matter if we were in a movie watching day and just wanted to be in our PJs. It didn't matter. Nothing got in the way for the last 2,100. I think we've probably had 3 presidents through this time.
I don't know. I don't really follow politics. So.
Yeah. I mean, the world has changed. I mean, we lived through a pandemic. Like so much has, it would actually be really funny. This is my own sick, twisted humor. Is I would love to go back and see what the price of Bitcoin was the day we started this and versus what it is today. But your unwavering commitment is what is the celebration. If more business owners, if more people were this committed to something, and here's what was really so cool about it, Helen, is that when I issued that to you as a challenge, 7 years ago, you didn't argue, you like. For me,
you didn't hear the conversation I had with myself in the car on the way back to San Diego that day.
Well, I think the thing is that I remember having a conversation with Brad. I can tell you exactly where it was. I think you can too. And I told Brad that day that I would always take care of you and I would make sure that you were taken care of. And I think when we had the conversation about the podcast, it was a way for you to have an outlet with people. It was a way for you to stay committed. It was, and what was so refreshing is that there wasn't some big argument. You didn't make me explain. You were just like, okay. And if more people just listen to everything I said, no, if more people would just take the chance that when somebody gives you something that maybe feels a little bit challenging, it maybe feels a little bit out of your zone, maybe it's okay to take a second and go, okay, and say yes. It's funny because I think sometimes we get into habits where we say, well, I'm just going to say no to everything I don't want, right? And then there's a whole other thing of thoughts like, I'm just going to say yes to everything, right? And so I think, Helen, like for me, the celebration of this is like, you're just getting started.
I'm always getting started.
I don't know this to be true, but I can certainly say that there's less than 0.1% of people that have done a live every day for 7 years.
Yep.
You could probably get away with saying the longest running daily live podcast on the planet.
Not 100% sure about that, but I'll have a look. Oh, actually,
I think we just need to do a little chat GPT
research
on it. And by the way, we're talking about chat GPT. Didn't exist 7 years ago.
Nope. Daily. I got to put the word daily in there because you can have one. So, and the question of time, because I know that you have other commitments to get to, and I want to make sure that we make the most of this time. So in the last year, since we ended year 5, so in year 6, we've changed from Before the Dirt Nap to Porchlight Letters. We've released the Porchlight Letters journal,
which I love, by the way. It's what literally such a cool, and it's funny because I'm angry that I didn't grab it. It's literally out by my TV because I love it.
Yeah. And the thing I like about this too is that you don't have to start at page 1. There's no page numbers, so you don't have to do them in any order. And they've got the date thing up the top here, so you just write in the date, and you can either answer the questions on this side or just freeform.
It's so cool, you guys. It's basically like a book for people like me with ADD and ADHD and OCD and all the ODs and all of that.
The complete alphabet, if you want to put it that way.
It's so great because it just is basically like a thought for the day. And if you don't like the thought that you open up to, pick a different
one.
They're from all over. So anyways, I interrupted you because
that's okay. So we've got
this, get the book on Amazon, guys. And if you do go get the book on Amazon, just search for Porchlight Letters. Go leave Helen a review for crying out loud.
Thank you. And very soon we're going to be releasing 14 volumes to go with this, which will track each of the themes that we have done each week with all the reflection questions that were asked during that week, plus some new ones as well to make it up to the number of 21, because we're keeping the number 21 in there. And then the other thing we've started is the Porchlight Letters newsletter, which goes out every week on a Monday. So that's been exciting to do that too, and that's evolving.
Helen, can you just take 2 seconds and tell everybody, like, what does Porchlight Letters mean to you?
Porchlight Letters. Now, my big hairy ass scary goal is to have a log cabin on a lake that faces east. On the east side, there are mountains, so I can watch the sun come up over in the morning, and in the evenings, I can watch the sun setting on the mountains when it sets behind us. And it's that dawn and dusk time of the day that I absolutely love, where I can sit out there on a porch. And I can't really do it here in Arizona because it's a little hot outside. Sometimes it's still triple digits on the Fahrenheit scale. But it's that time of the day when you can just sit out there quietly in that moment, be present. You can use it for prayer, for meditation, whatever you want to use it for. And it's just being in that moment, listening to the world wake up or listening to settling down at night. And that's the time when I do my journaling. And sometimes I write a letter to myself. Sometimes it's a letter to somebody else, but it's all in my journal. Sometimes I write a letter to Brad in my journal. But that's my quiet time. And it's just that time of the day. So you're sitting there with the porch light on and just writing. And it's a great time when people, if people are walking by, to come up and sit on the porch with you and have a cup of coffee, have a cold drink with you. So that's what it means to me. It's just that quiet time.
And some people might think that's meditation time. Some people might think it's the time, like, I'm a guy that, I sit at a lot of traffic lights. So I spend some of that time pondering and thinking in traffic. It's funny. I just started this. I kind of have a rolling porch light time, I used to go on a hike, and I live in Los Angeles, and go on this hike, and I would always listen to a business podcast on my earphones. And part of it was because I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to say anything to anybody. Everybody just leave me alone. I want to listen to some, and I like zip up and zip down, and I'm sweating and gross. And I had a friend actually talk to me about, like, what would it look like if you took your headset out and didn't listen to a business podcast? And what would it look like if, when you got to the top of the hill, you took a few minutes and went and sat on a bench and just was silent?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, right? And now I've started doing this new thing where I've tried to remove any expectation up on the hill, but now I say good morning or good afternoon to every single person I see.
Yep.
And it's funny, the range of emotion. Some are just like, no, I'm listening to my podcast, leave me alone, right? And other people like ignore you, and other people, you see that they're in kind of a bad mood, but it breaks their thing, and like they like light up. And so I what I've always loved about the porch letter concept was that, or porch light concept, was that it can mean different things to different people. It's just that time where you get to like zone down for a few minutes and like power down a little bit. It's sort of like you power down to power up.
Yep, exactly. It's that little recharge that you do. And Zephy is the one that taught me to remove my headphones. Whenever we go for walks, I would take that time to listen to books. She was all over the place. She was like, you're not paying attention to me. I'm not. And she was pulling my arm out of its socket and pulling me on the lead and wanting to go over here. Then she wants to go over here. And we were all over the place. But when I when I stopped listening and unplugged my headphones, she walked beautifully outside or just slightly in front of me without even changing any commands or anything. It was the fact that I was now present in nature with her, and we were together in that moment. And there'll be times I would stop and look, because here in the park that's close to my place, we see hummingbirds, and I've always associated hummingbirds with Brad, because Brad had loved hummingbirds. And there's been times I've had conversations with these hummingbirds, and they'll be above Zephy.
That just makes you weird, by the way.
I really don't give a crap.
She clearly does live in Arizona.
Yes.
My parents live there, so I can't.
But there was this one time that there was this one particular hummingbird, and it hovered about 4 feet above Zephy right in front of me. And I would always say, good morning, Brad, whenever I see the hummingbirds. And it turned, and it had this beautiful red glittery heart on its chest. And I was like, that is so beautiful. And like, I'm talking out loud to this thing. I don't care who's walking past when I'm talking to a hummingbird. And then the next day we're out talking, and this hummingbird comes above Zephy again, around the same height. And I looked at this one and looked the similar colors. I said, are you the same one that was visiting me yesterday? And the bird turned, and you could see the red glittering heart on its chest. So I had the same visit from the same bird twice, and it understood everything I said. So I don't know what I'm going to do when I go to New Zealand, since we don't have hummingbirds in New Zealand. So I'm going to have to find Brad's going to have to find another bird to come visit. So
you're a crazy bird lady, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Because hummingbirds, they understand English, right? So they,
I think animals understand us way more than we give them credit for.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, totally.
Toys. I saw Toy Story. I know what they're, I know what happens when we go to bed. Helen, it's just an absolute, like, I'm just beaming from ear to ear. It is such it's such a cool celebration of the journey and the impact and the legacy that's being created, and the friendships and the power, the powerful coming into who you are. And you're always evolving, and you're always changing, and you're always moving. And it's, well, hell, you're just super fantastic and sparkly.
Thank you. Oh, we have to mention one other thing we got accomplished last year. I wrote my first song.
That's right.
Yes, The Best Me I Can Be, and it's out with 2 different versions. And we've had the QR code up in the corner for the last couple of weeks for people to go and vote. And Brody's winning on the votes, I have to say. His one's winning on the votes. But moving forward, we're still going to continue the daily lives, because a lot of people have been asking me that. Are you still going to do it daily live? Are you still? Yes. And we're going to be moving back to New Zealand in October. So the times might change a little bit, although 6 p.m. in the here in the evening is, at this time of the year, is around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So it's still going to be doable. But we're also going, as when we move back to New Zealand next year, we're going to start having some different episodes from different areas of New Zealand as we rediscover New Zealand after being away for over 28 and a half years here in the States and just doing little visits back. Now I want to do a deep dive into New Zealand again and bring you guys along on that journey. So you're going to be seeing that coming up on the podcast once I get settled in New Zealand and get my house and all of that sort of stuff too. So we've got big plans coming up.
I love it. Well, Helen, I think I speak on behalf of everybody that you've ever touched or you've ever been in a room with or you've ever been around, that you just bring sparkle and joy and fantastic energy to the room, and people leave the room better and happier than when they got there. And
Yep.
I just think that's a huge, like, I'm trying to be like light and fluffy, and at the same time, it's just the sheer magnitude of what you bring to the world that I think everybody that's ever watched one of these shows or has ever been around you feels when you leave the room. And I think that's what makes this whole thing work and is really awesome. And I can't wait to see what happens over the next 7 years.
Well, I always like sharing smiles with people, and because I don't get out much, haven't been getting out much lately and all that sort of thing, and amongst other people, because everything's done here at home, the only time I get to share a smile is right here, right now. So
I love it.
Yeah. Well, Casey, thank you so much for your inspiration for kicking this off back there in July of 2019. And because you gave it to me a couple of weeks before I actually started, because we started on the 1st of August. And that was my first major road trip in Sparkles with my mum and dad. So
I remember. I love it.
Yeah, the first 27 days we did 3,227 miles, and I will never do that again in 27 days. That was a lot of driving. That was a lot of driving. But yeah, it's been interesting going back and just seeing some of the memories and things. But what I'm doing is I'm looking forward. This fits in beautifully with this week's theme, which is keep showing up. And we are showing up every day, 6 p.m. Pacific time, except on Mondays where it's at 7 p.m. because I have an AI class on those days. And sometimes when we have our mastermind groups on Thursdays, we have to push it to 7. But most of the times it's at 6. But Casey, thank you again so much for coming on and helping us celebrate. And don't forget, if you're watching this live right now, go scan that QR code now, because as soon as I deactivate the thing, we're cutting off the free gift. So anyway, but with that, everybody, thank you so much for being with us for 2,191 days and seeing us through lots of ups and downs and laughter and tears and all the other emotions. We look forward to showing up every day for you guys. And with that, we are out of here. Go have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll be back tomorrow evening at